Where have the goals gone for Auston Matthews as we recap the Maple Leafs trade deadline? Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And guys, things have gone absolutely off the rails for the Maple Leafs, having now lost 7 in a row after a 5-2 defeat to Tampa Bay on Saturday, which once again did not feature a goal by captain Auston Matthews. His goalless streak now up to 11 games, which seems pretty unfathomable for someone that has scored as much as Matthews has in his career. Terry, we'll start with you. When you look at the root cause of the drought, is it more player-related or coach-related, in your opinion?
Well, it's a bit of both, I think. And yeah, 11 games. His longest in his career is 13, which started around 6 or 7 games after he scored 4 in his debut. So that's how long it's been since Matthews went on had a slump like this. You're playing dump and chase a lot, as the Leafs have. I don't know how much that benefits a guy of Matthews' talents when you're not getting the puck back on the forecheck, which is part of that big plan, right? So that falls on your wingers like the Matthew Knies and the departed Bobby McMahons of the world, the guys who've been on that left side for a bit, and of course now, we don't see either of them there. But yeah, so Matthew's not getting the space. You're not getting the space. You can't get that shot off. I think more and more as the season has gone on, although we've said here a few times, and Berube said himself, the goals haven't been a problem. Well, that might not be that might be true to an extent, but you take Marner off Matthews' wing, and a lot of the space that, or a lot of the attention that Marner sucked up is just not there now. So he's drawing people to him. The space was there for Matthews before. It's not now. And, like I said earlier, we're not getting the shot has just disappeared. He's on pace for 37 goals, well below his good mark. I mean, I think he's hit 46 times in the National Hockey League, of course, 60 twice. And yeah, I think, assuming there's going to be a coaching change at this point, even if they go, 18-0, whatever they got left, I can't see how there won't be. One of the priorities of the new person will have to be to unlock Matthews again, because it is kind of ridiculous that he does have this skill and hasn't been exploited like it should have been, and that'll be a big thing going forward. All indications are the health is fine, but someone next fall, whoever he winds up playing with is going to have to take a long hard look at how do you get Matthews back on track here, because he's certainly well below par or well above par, however the saying goes.
The morning skate we saw the other day, I saw him parked in his usual spot, and he just buried a one-timer that I forget. I guess Stolarz was in net because he was the starter that day, and everyone just was in awe. And part of that was, so where's that been lately? So yeah, the skill is still there. I'm with Terry. There's a number of reasons there. I think some of it is in his head. I mean, he's came back from the Olympics to a very difficult situation here. The team is losing. He heard a few boos the other night. I'll be interested to see if that really cranks him up, as a couple of players suggested it might. But it's certainly in his head to that respect. Yes, power play certainly been an issue, even though it's clicking more. You certainly don't see him that much. I think that part of that's a factor of not having he's a good tipper and a net front presence, and they haven't had that point shot in Riley all year long to sort of to trigger that. Missing Marner is certainly, as Terry alluded to, is something we have not going to see an 11-game slump if Mitch Marner's still in the situation or still in the picture. And Berube's system, is not conducive to him. Certainly, the people aren't getting the puck to him. And finally, I would say puck luck. We both saw Saturday. He had a great chance and just clink off the crossbar. He couldn't have been in a better position. So he needs one to drop, and he needs one. I think one went off Nylander's rear end the other night. He needs something like that maybe to get him going.
Yeah, it just takes one, and maybe the floodgates will open again for Auston Matthews. You guys mentioned Bobby McMahon, one of the departed on Friday's trade deadline, along with Scott Lawton, and we throw in Nick Waugh there earlier in the week as the Maple Leafs get a bunch of draft picks back. No prospects, surprisingly, on this trade deadline for Brad Treliving and company, Lance, but we'll start with you. Your quick thoughts on how this deadline went for the Leafs. Was it a success? Was it a failure? Where do you have it landing?
Well, I don't know what they would have got if they were still in contender position, just because they really didn't have anything to offer to anybody. But, of course, everybody wanted some kind of return for for a season that's gone south. And sadly for Treliving, I think what's happened is the players that he overpaid for a year ago, he got an underwhelming a return for this year. It was great to get the first rounder back for Nicholas Waugh, but there could have been there could have been more. Now I think McMahon not playing as well as he could have early on, and people taking a hard look at what his real value was, and in being as young as he is, certainly there could be some potential there, but people outweighed him in terms of the return for McMahon, and there wasn't not a lot of defense you could bring back, so that's their big hole, and of course there wasn't anything for them to bring back as there. So but I guess the best part for him is if those players had to go, they got out of the conference, and won't be players who are going to be coming back to haunt the Leafs anytime soon. But very much underwhelming, given a year ago everybody was so high on what he paid, and there is a degree, we've discussed this before, there's a degree of you're going to get inflated prices when you bring in some of the talent they did last year. But those draft picks are really going to hurt down the recovering them is going to be difficult. Certainly the 2 first rounders.
I thought he started off well with the Nicholas Waugh trade and getting a first-round pick. And then if you're going to go good, bad, and ugly on Friday, I thought it was ugly. In hindsight now, I thought initially, 5 picks overall getting back, it's not a bad little haul, and it isn't. But you consider what went out. And McMahon, it came down to the wire, obviously, but I think there should have been at least a first-round pick or a prospect there. Yeah, he's going to be 30 this summer, but he still has a 25-goal potential going forward. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And Scott Lawton, by the time that happened, it could be a second rounder if the Kings make the playoffs. Bit of a long shot there, I suppose, but that won't look as bad if that happens. And then you hope at some point they can turn it into a Matthew Nyes type player. But I just overall, it's just not great. And I guess the one bonus for me coming out of the trade deadline is for Treliving is he stuck to his guns on Ekman-Larsson. And I think going in, there was the idea that you could get a really good package for him, including probably a first-round pick and a prospect. Yeah, Ekman-Larsson's up in age, but he's played fairly good hockey this year. The defensive issues that he has, I think, it's shored up on a team with structure. And, a couple more years at a good price. But he, good on Treliving for sticking to his guns and saying, okay, if I'm not going to get what I've set here, then this isn't happening. What's the offshoot of it? The Leafs have a guy for 2 more years that they probably know right now are going to get some good games out of. There's no reason to think that, Ekman-Larsson is going to have a decrease in his game. He's not overly rugged by any stretch of the imagination, but he does like to get his nose in there, and there's not really, the potential for injury there like we see with some other guys. And until he was sat out last week, he played in every game. So take that little bonus out of it, but overall, I think, like Lance said, it was underwhelming, and you go from here a bit. I guess first-round pick was good, but it's unfortunate for the Leafs there wasn't another one coming down the pike there by the time Friday came at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm with Terry. Keep Ekman-Larsson. He's going to help this team at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with him back in the fold, it would seem as if it's going to be retool more than potentially rebuild for this Leafs team heading into next season. But still some games to play here to wrap up the regular season. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Lance Hornby, Terry Koshan, and Rob Wong, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.